After 6 years of anonymity, Sophie Cunningham has suddenly become a superstar this season. Why? How did she accomplish the previously unachievable? How did she become a star in a league that seems to be allergic to star power?
Stupid. Or is it slow? Maybe it's useless.
But she did it in a way that she wasn't going to injure JC. She was just making it known, like, if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it.
We were talking about, like, our first week, what people had to say. Well, the WNBA fined me for talking about the refs.
No!
Like, everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know. And you finding me $500 is not going to do.
You got fined for episode 1?
Dude, they fined me $1,500.
You're watching a WNBA game, and suddenly, chaos erupts. Players are shoving, benches are clearing, and right in the middle of it all is a 5'8" guard from Missouri who just grabbed someone by the hair and sent them crashing to the ground. That's Sophie Cunningham, and she's been on an absolute warpath that's exposing everything wrong with the WNBA.
Of course, Sophie Cunningham owned J.C. Sheldon from the same game that Marina Mabrey did the massive body slam into Caitlin Clark on.
This isn't just about basketball anymore. This is about a player who's decided she's had enough of the league's nonsense, and she's willing to pay thousands of dollars in fines just to speak her mind. Sophie Cunningham has become the WNBA's most dangerous truth teller, and the league is scrambling to silence her.
Sophie Cunningham is everywhere. Arby's, walking in. She's the best looking woman walking into these WNBA arenas. I mean, Black Belt Barbie, anybody? Black Belt Barbie. Should we put that on a t-shirt? Yeah, just wondering.
But here's the thing, every time they fine her, she gets louder. Every time they try to shut her up, she finds a new platform. And the fans, they're eating it up. Because finally, someone is saying what everyone's been thinking.
Sophie Cunningham, let's be clear here. Sophie Cunningham was targeted. Let's be very, very clear here.
Let's start with the incident that put her on the map as the WNBA's unofficial enforcer. It's June 2025, and the Indiana Fever are playing the Connecticut Sun. Caitlin Clark, the league's golden child, is getting absolutely worked over by Sun players. First, J.C. Sheldon hits Clark right in the face. A few seconds later, Marina Mabrey bumps Clark to the ground with what can only be described as a dirty play. And where are the refs? Nowhere. They're letting it slide like it's perfectly normal to target the league's biggest star. That's when Sophie Cunningham decided she'd seen enough. With 46 seconds left on the clock, Cunningham tracked down Sheldon during a breakaway layup attempt and delivered a flagrant foul that would make an NFL linebacker proud. But she didn't stop there. She grabbed Sheldon by the hair and took her down, triggering an absolute bench-clearing brawl that had the entire arena on its feet.
Sophie commits a hard foul on JC Sheldon. Again, as JC Sheldon is going up for a layup, Sophie bear hugs her and takes her to the ground. What I will say is Sophie did not grab her and throw her to the ground. She didn't body slam her. She didn't do anything, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm biased here, but I'm gonna give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this. She bear hugged her, took her to the ground. Yes, it was intentional. It was absolutely intentional.
The ejection was automatic. The fine was guaranteed, but Cunningham didn't care. And that's what makes her so dangerous to the WNBA's carefully crafted image. After the game, instead of apologizing or staying quiet like most players would, Cunningham went on the attack. She called out the referees for forcing her hand, saying they weren't protecting Caitlin Clark, so she had to step in and do it herself. She became Clark's self-appointed enforcer, and the fans absolutely loved it.
It was just part of the game. I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do, and I'm a team player. So.
But the WNBA, they were not having it. They hit her with a $400 fine for the flagrant foul, plus an additional undisclosed penalty for her role in the fight. Most players would take the L and move on. Not Sophie Cunningham. She doubled down, hard.
Like, what are people doing? It's just too much.
Finally, someone who gets it. Finally.
Just days later, she posted a TikTok video that sent shockwaves through the league. In it, she lip-synced to song lyrics saying, "Stupid," or "Is it slow," or maybe "useless," with the text, "at some refs," plastered on the screen. It was a direct shot at WNBA officials, and everyone knew it.
Stupid. Or is it slow? Maybe it's useless.
The league slapped her with another $500 fine for that TikTok post. So what did Cunningham do? She went on her podcast, Show Me Something, and absolutely lit up the officiating again. She questioned the refs' competence, called out their bias, and basically said what every fan watching at home was thinking. That earned her another fine, this time $1,500, tripling her previous penalty.
We were talking about like our first week, what people had to say. Well, the WNBA fined me for talking about the refs.
No!
Like everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know. And you finding me $500 is not going to do
You got fined for episode 1?
Dude, they fined me $1,500. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is just the beginning. It's like, you're kidding.
Oh, way. It's cool for the pod, but that's kind of a bummer. Do they put like, this is why you're being fined and this is why it's this much? Or is it like, hey, quit talking shit on us, Venmo us like $1,500?
No. What happens is they email our GM. She pulls me aside and she goes, "Come here, Soph, I have to talk to you." And this was in like front of everybody. And I was like, what did I do now? And she just smiled and she goes, "Hey, they're going to fine you again." I was like, I even told them, I even credited them that their job was hard. Like, I'm not saying that your job is easy. I did say that. And I said that I would not be good at it. Like, look at the whole picture. What are we doing? And then I'll get fined for that, and then I'll get fined for this, and then the fines continue. Yeah.
The WNBA was clearly trying to send a message, shut up or pay up. But Sophie Cunningham had a different message for them. Bring it on.
Watch it for yourself.
Pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What?
Sabrina? No.
When people try to argue that she's not the face of our league, or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb as shit.
The escalation didn't stop there. During a game against the Dallas Wings, Cunningham noticed what she believed was preferential treatment toward rookie sensation Paige Beckers. So naturally, she went on her podcast the very next day and called it out. "I love Paige to death, do not get me wrong," Cunningham said, before dropping the hammer. But that is so annoying when talking about the refs' apparent bias towards certain players. It was raw, unfiltered, and exactly what the WNBA didn't want to hear from one of their players. The league hit her with a third fine for those comments, but by this point, something interesting was happening. Every time they fined Sophie Cunningham, her social media following exploded. Her podcast downloads skyrocketed. Fans were rallying around her because she was saying what they couldn't.
Sophie Cunningham has now been fined 4 times this season? She's had 4 separate fines this season. And she got fined for comments on a podcast episode about referees. And it wasn't even like it was that bad.
She gained over 1 million new social media followers in just weeks, turning these fines into the best marketing investment of her career. The WNBA was trying to silence her, but they were actually amplifying her voice to levels they never imagined. And Cunningham? She started treating these fines like a business expense. When asked about spending thousands of dollars in penalties, she basically shrugged it off, saying she was looking at the big picture. What's a few $1,000s when you're building a brand as the league's truth teller? This is where it gets really interesting. Sophie Cunningham isn't just some hothead throwing tantrums. She's strategically exposing what many consider systemic problems in the WNBA. The inconsistent officiating, the star treatment for certain players, the lack of protection for superstars like Caitlin Clark. She's putting it all on blast. Take her comments about referees not protecting Clark. She didn't just complain, she provided a solution by becoming Clark's enforcer herself. When she saw officials giving Paige Beckers favorable calls, she didn't just whine about it privately, she called it out publicly and sparked a conversation about rookie favoritism. Every controversy, every fine, every heated exchange is building towards something bigger. Cunningham is essentially creating a case study in how the WNBA operates behind the scenes, and fans are taking notes. The league's response has been predictably heavy-handed. Fine after fine, warning after warning, they're trying to make an example out of her. But here's what they didn't count on. Sophie Cunningham doesn't care about being the league's good girl. She'd rather be their problem child, if it means exposing the truth. And the timing couldn't be better. With Caitlin Clark bringing unprecedented attention to women's basketball, every incident gets magnified. Every controversial call gets scrutinized. Every questionable decision by officials gets dissected by thousands of new fans who are still learning about the league. Sophie Cunningham has positioned herself as their guide through the chaos, pointing out inconsistencies and calling out problems that casual fans might miss. She's become the WNBA's unofficial watchdog, and that's a role the league never wanted anyone to fill. But here's where it gets even more explosive. The Paige Bueckers incident wasn't just about one controversial flagrant foul call. During that same game against Dallas, Cunningham was whistled for a flagrant foul on Bueckers in the first quarter during a closeout on a three-point attempt that didn't appear intentional. The slow-motion replay sparked massive backlash online, with fans saying the officiating was clearly biased toward the rookie sensation. And Sophie Cunningham? She wasn't backing down from that fight either. On her podcast, she went nuclear. "I love Paige to death, do not get me wrong," before absolutely destroying the referees for their obvious favoritism. The league hit her with that massive $1,500 fine, but the damage was already done. She'd exposed another layer of the WNBA's credibility problem. What makes this even more insane is that some fans actually started a petition trying to get Sophie Cunningham banned from the WNBA entirely. They claimed her flagrant foul on Sheldon showed she had no intention of playing the ball while looking to bring down her opponent, and that she was a danger to other players. But here's the twist. The petition backfired spectacularly. Instead of destroying her reputation, it turned her into a folk hero. Fans rallied around her harder than ever, saying the league was trying to silence the only player brave enough to call out their nonsense. The petition gained some traction, but Sophie Cunningham supporters absolutely demolished it with counter-arguments and evidence of referees letting other players get away with much worse. But the real kicker came when other coaches started backing her up. Even some of her opponent's coaching staff privately admitted that the officiating inconsistencies she was calling out were real problems that needed addressing. When your enemies start agreeing with you, you know you've hit something deep. Then there's her defense of Caitlin Clark that went beyond just the on-court protection. When critics tried to deny that Clark was the face of the WNBA, Cunningham didn't mince words, calling them dumb as for not recognizing Clark's impact. This wasn't just teammate loyalty. This was Sophie Cunningham positioning herself as the guardian of truth in a league full of politics and false narratives. The most dangerous part for the WNBA? Cunningham is good at basketball. She's not some bench warmer looking for attention. She's a legitimate contributor who can back up her talk on the court. With her black belt in Taekwondo achieved at age 6 and her history as a multi-sport athlete, she's got the physical and mental toughness to handle whatever backlash comes her way. When she commits a flagrant foul to protect a teammate, fans see passion and loyalty. When she calls out referees on social media, fans see someone willing to speak truth to power. When she gets fined again and again, fans see a martyr for their frustrations with the league. And when she gains over 1 million followers while the league tries to silence her, fans see proof that she's winning the war. The WNBA is caught in an impossible position. If they keep finding her, they make her more popular and give her more material to work with. If they stop, it looks like they're admitting she's right about their problems. And if they try to suspend her, they risk turning her into an even bigger symbol of resistance. Sophie Cunningham has found the perfect storm of controversy, timing, and platform to expose everything she thinks is wrong with the WNBA. And with each fine, each podcast episode, each social media post, she's building an army of fans who see her as their voice in a league that often seems tone-deaf to criticism. The question isn't whether Sophie Cunningham will keep speaking out. She's proven that fines won't stop her. The question is whether the WNBA will finally address the issues she's raising, or if they'll keep trying to silence the messenger while the problems she's exposing continue to grow. One thing is certain, Sophie Cunningham has changed the conversation around the WNBA forever, and there's no going back now. Subscribe if you want to see how this war between Sophie Cunningham and the WNBA plays out next.